How can we make places better for disabled people? Bollards. As a visually impaired person, I've bumped into these things one too many times for my liking, and they create issues for lots of other people too, whether it's reducing walkway space, being another obstacle for people to have to think about and navigate, or just generally making streets look cluttered and messy. So where we can avoid using bollards, we should. But in some instances, they are needed to stop cars driving onto pavements and into things that they shouldn't. So where we do need to use bollards, how can we make them the best they can be? So the first thing we need to think about is placement. Now, bollards should not be stuck slap bang in the middle of pavements. They should be as close to the edge of the pavement or as close to the thing they're trying to protect as possible. And this means we have as much usable space on pavements as possible. The second thing we need to look at is the colour of bollards, and more importantly, their contrast. Now, we need to make sure bollards are as visible as possible at all times, and the best way to do this is to make sure they contrast against the pavement or background that they're against. So if we've got a light pavement, we want a dark bollard, and if we've got a dark pavement, we want a light bollard. Now obviously lighting changes, so while this works during the day, it won't quite work during the night or when it gets a bit darker. So we need to add other contrasting strips such as yellow or white ones to dark bollards to make sure they're still visible of the night. And if you're from Manchester, which is close to where I live, this black and yellow design ties into our Manchester B theme too, so looks good as well as being more accessible. And finally, we need to think about material. Now, usually bollards are made out of wrought iron, so you know about it if you do bang into them. But what I'm seeing more and more is wrought iron bollards being replaced with plastic ones, which look exactly the same. They are much easier to remove and install if they are deemed as necessary or unnecessary. Cars don't want to risk bumping into them because they look so similar, but it could be the difference between a broken hip and a little bump for the likes of me, so a big thumbs up. And that's one way we can make places better for disabled people.